we are live on Facebook, and in true fashion, I've got to wait for it to load so that I can mute it when it is actually up and running on Facebook. Here we go. Haha! I actually got it this time. Normally I'm fighting to cut off my voice so that there's not two of me happening at the same time. So welcome. We are here in the hot seat, and I have Miri here with me, and we are going to be discussing, I think, something that we all know we have to do, but we all avoid doing it, which is talking about our email list, the importance of having one, and how we effectively work on our email marketing to get the most bang for having that list. So welcome. Thank you so much for being willing to be in the hot seat. I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. Just from the brief conversation we had, I think it's going to be so helpful to people in the group and people tuning in. And you know my feelings about it. So let's start off with telling people who you are, what you do, and we'll get into some nitty-gritty stuff after that.
Okay, cool. Well, it's awesome to be here. I love doing this. Connecting with people to me is like the most important thing right now. So thank you so much. I love doing this. So my name is Miri Lenoff. I am an email copywriter. And what I do is I help people with their email strategies. So I usually like to work with service-based businesses, not so much with e-commerce, because there's a lot of creativity there. And we can go in like so many different ways. So they're usually authors, coaches, people selling a service. Like I'm recently working with somebody who helps people to get jobs, somebody who helps people with their wedding. So things like that. It's like a feel good kind of businesses that I like to help out and make an impact. So what I do is I go in and I look for opportunities when it comes to email. And I call it opportunities because if you're not doing something right, you don't have to, feel like a failure for whatever you're not doing. Just look at it as an opportunity to grow. So
totally.
Yeah. So a lot of times people look for, a lot of times their welcome sequences are not aligned with what they are doing on social media or what their website tells people. So it's a great way to start up the bat with a really good way to connect with their audience right away. And then we also talk about what can you do consistently? Because I know we were talking earlier, and it's really about finding the strategy that is going to make sense for what you do, but also consistently. Like, you don't have to send an email every day if you cannot do that. Like, don't get yourself, you don't get your hopes up right away and say, okay, I'm going to email myself every single day and it's going to be great. Well, let's face it. If you're able to do that, that's awesome. But at least once a week, at least share something with your audience. So that's what I do. That's what I try to make sure that whatever you're doing is aligned with who you are and being authentic in the right way. And I love that we spoke about this a little bit, but it really is about that,
Yeah, I am all about being in alignment with who you are, being authentically you, unapologetically you, because ultimately that's how we connect with our ideal clients. When we pretend to be somebody we're not is when we attract people that may not necessarily need us or benefit from what we do or be easy to work with. So, my business partner, Kesley, and I are in firm belief of being authentic and putting yourself out there as you are, because that is ultimately what people connect with. And that's how we ended up creating the Authentic Entrepreneurs Club, because that is the basis of everything that we do, is to help people find out who that is, because there are so many people who don't even know who they are authentically, because we spend so much time trying to live up to these expectations of other people.
Right.
That we don't take that step back and go, wait a minute, that's not mine. Take that back. That's yours. Right. And in order to be able to make those connections, we have to know who we are first. And then, like you said, being consistent at least once a week. I'm of the mindset, that same mindset. I myself don't enjoy the everyday email thing because I have thousands of unread emails in my inbox from people who send me daily emails. Yeah. And I'm just like, I see your face, like your name in my inbox way too much. You know, but then somebody brought it to my attention today, actually. They're like, but who do you think of when you encounter somebody who needs what they do? And you're like, oh, wait a minute, I get emails from this person and this is their specialty. Oh, maybe I'll refer them to that person. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, darn it, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it works. I mean, emailing every day is a superpower. And I look forward to getting some emails from people that I follow. Like one of my mentors emails every single day. And when he does an email, I'm like, hey, like, what happened? I missed your email today. Like, I didn't get your email. Like, I'm missing out, you know? But I do agree that if you're not just going to send an email just because it's every single day. You know, there are great authors, like there's an author, his name is James, and he's into like the healthy habits, and he sends a newsletter every single Thursday. And I am looking forward to my email every single Thursday because of that, because it's impactful. And that's the key word, impactful and valuable. So if you can do something consistently once a week, at least once a week, like don't do it every other week, because then people are not really going to think of you when they need something, or it's harder to create a connection when it's not as consistent as, you know, at least once a week. But that's really the key. Like, be you, just the same way that you're sharing on social media. Email is very similar, but you have to just get it out there, and you have to just make sure that it's consistent enough so that you can build that connection with your audience. That's really what it is.
Yeah, 100%. And something I have learned the value in recently is that subject heading, because I open emails that catch my attention, and I'm like, okay, I know what they're doing, but I still need to open this to find. And again, Kesley, my business partner, sent me one yesterday, and she was like, damn it, I had to open it. And it was actually quite brilliant, their subject line. And she said, we've got to think of better ways to do that. I'm like, oh, I'm ahead of you on that, because I sent an email recently where my subject heading was people suck.
That's good.
And my open rate was like the best it's ever been. And I said, you know, it's good when my mom opens the email. My mom's on my list because I used her email as a trial when I was setting it up. And of course she messages me. She's like, what happened? I'm like, so you opened the email and you didn't read it? Well, I figured it was easier to call you. I'm like, well, that was a way for me to get you to open the email. She's like, that's pretty smart. I'm like, I know. So I agree. Hook line, even in posting, is super important, right? Get people to stop scrolling and open that post and read it.
Exactly. And you actually know which emails are good and which ones are not. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm like in so many newsletters and so many lists that just look at your inbox. Just look at your inbox one day, and you're going to see the ones that you opened and the ones that you didn't open. Yeah. And then look at the subject lines and the sender name and the preview, because those are the three things. So if you go to my timeline, you're going to see that I'm right now doing a series of 3 videos of what gets people to open emails. And the first one was the subject line. The second one is the sender name. And then the third one, I'm just giving you a heads up, it's going to be the preview. And that's really kind of like where your eyes go. You first look at the subject, then you look at who sends it, and then you look at a little bit, oh, maybe I'll open it, maybe I won't. But you already have the answer when you look at your inbox, and you're going to see all of these different subject lines. Those are the ones that you open are obviously the good ones. The ones that you didn't open, they didn't do that good of a job to get you to open them. Yeah. So that's how you're able to get to some practice and to see what works and what doesn't. And obviously, like, every market is different, right? There are some markets that some subject lines work better than others, and you need to know your audience. So it's not like you can have a one size fits all for everything, but it's a good test to know, I don't know if this is a good subject line. Well, go back to your inbox and see which ones maybe you can switch a little bit, which ones made sense for you. And that way you can actually come up with awesome subject lines. And there's also like tools that you can use, but that's just like the first step that I would suggest whenever you're looking to improve. Just do like a quick glance and you'll see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm still learning that. And so I've started dissecting and really paying attention to what emails grab my attention and get me to open them, because yeah, like you, my inbox is flooded and I get so many, and it can be so overwhelming. And I'm sure I'm missing important emails that I actually do need because they are specifically for me. But there are some that I'm like, some people message multiple times a day. And that to me, I'm like, okay, unsubscribe. I don't have time. I don't have time. Especially when their market is entrepreneurs. And I'm just like, what entrepreneur do you know that has time to open up 4 emails from you in a day, plus all the other emails lists they belong to? So I really have to step back and say, what does my ideal client want, need, and what would attract me? What would make me stop and open? And so it takes some thought, especially when it's kind of out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. But you know what? The comfort zone, you're always going to be feeling like that. Like it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. So you just have to go for it. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, they don't open the email.
Right. You just send another one next week or tomorrow, or that's a great thing. It's like social media. Like if you're not sure about posting something on social media because you don't know if it's going to get the engagement that you want or whatever, don't worry. People don't really care. Like it's going to go to the bottom of your newsfeed or your timeline, and nobody cares. Like people just, they want to see stuff and they want to be entertained. But if something doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Like the worst thing that can happen is people don't like it, people don't comment on it, and that's it. It's the same thing with email. So yeah, obviously always do your best and everything, but it's a process. And if you don't take the chance, you're just gonna be stuck and you're not gonna move up throughout the process. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you really write those things, posts, emails, everything, with that ideal client in mind, and you tell them, or you focus on what they want to hear selfishly, because naturally we are selfish. What is this going to do for me? How is this going to help me? Right. And we look at it from that standpoint, which can be hard for us sometimes.
Yeah.
That is really what's going to help them open it and keep them engaged. When they can go, well, what's in it for me? Well, let me tell you what's in it for you. Let me tell you how this will help you. But again, it's that shift we have to make to say, don't write this like you think you should. You need to step away from the shoulds and you need to focus on their perspective.
Yeah.
And from that selfish human mentality, how is this going to help serve, alleviate something for me?
Yeah, I mean, if you like, I've been trained as a copywriter, obviously, and the most important word that you can use in your material is the word you. That is the most important word, because people, whenever you write something that says we or I, it's like you're talking about somebody that is distanced from them. But when you're talking about you, it's about them, the person reading it. So I totally agree with that. Yeah.
That's really good. I have to say, Liz is here she is saying hello from the Philippines. So we're saying hi back. Thank you for being here. And anybody else who may be joining, make sure to comment and let us know that you're here with us. This is all great stuff. And it's funny, the number of people, not funny, haha, but the number of people that I talk to who are like, oh, I don't have an email list. And I'm like,
yeah,
let's have a discussion around that, because one of the first things I learned moving my business online was the importance of an email list. And what it was told to me, and it was Jenna Kutcher who, and she is well known for her email list and what she does through her email list. She said, you don't own anything on Facebook or on social media, and it can go like that. Right? Yep. Something happens, you get hacked, it gets shut down, you've lost your group, you've lost any social media contacts you have. So it doesn't matter how many followers you have on Instagram. If something happens, that's gone. And a friend of mine is going through that right now, and she is losing her mind. Well, she does have an email list, thank goodness, but she's like, my Instagram is gone. Wow. And I had heard of something even a few months ago where people were, this one girl was saying, I lost my Instagram account. I had 25,000 followers.
Wow. Like, yeah, I've heard of that before.
Actually. For her, that, because we know how much work it takes to get that many followers and to build 100%. That. So an email list is yours. It can't be taken from you like that. It can't be turned off. So that is the importance of an email list, because it's another way to stay in contact with the people who have said, yes, I want to hear from you, because you only get emails from those who agree to that. And they're the people waiting for those emails from you, waiting to hear what you're doing. Yeah. So out there right now, if anybody's listening and you don't have an email list, you need to reconsider right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. You can have as many friends as you want and followers on Instagram. And I also have heard of like other people, not 25,000. I think they had like 7,000, where Facebook took away their page. So that's something else that, I mean, pages are really not that popular anymore. They're kind of like a waste. But back then, you know, a few years ago, they were like important. We would see pages post all the time, and they lost it. And it was you know, you never know what's going to happen with Facebook and how their algorithm is going to change. And that's something else that if you like right now, groups are awesome. And like this group right here, you know, it has awesome engagement and there's awesome posts. And that's because people see it on their timeline. But what happens when all of a sudden Facebook says, you know what, we're going to change things again. And we're not going to really care so much about groups. We're going to care more about people's timelines. And they're not going to want to show you so many posts that are in groups and stuff. Yeah. So what do you do then? You know, like you have to find a way to talk to your audience in a different way. And that's why email is another thing that you can use. And it's not like email or versus social media. Like there's been like stats, and if you want, I can share them with you that to see what works better. But in my opinion, it's not what works better, it's what works together. And that's the key.
Yeah.
Because marketing is not just email marketing. Marketing is your company, your brand. So
it's all the marketing.
Exactly. It's everything you do, whether it's social media, whether it's through print, if you want to send a postcard to your audience, whether you want to do it through advertise, like retargeting on Facebook. I'm not even about organically. I'm talking about retargeting through social media, through you can do so much, right? You can do videos through YouTube. So it's not just one thing. It's you have to just find what works for you consistently, and that's really the key. And that's not just email. That's with everything. So email, it is the best way to get people to see your content. I mean, it's 20% of the open rates. It's kind of like the average open rates across all markets. So 20% of your audience is going to see it, most likely, if you go by average standards. But if you go into
media, actually, I'm thinking about my email list. I'm like, it is about 20-25%.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Usually when you have a welcome sequence, the first emails tends to be higher in the 40 to 50% because people are just expecting to get that initial email from you. Right. But across all markets around 20%. But when you look at the engagement that you have on Facebook or Instagram, it's about, I've seen stats from 1% to 3%. So it's relatively low, but as opposed to email, because it's less direct, you can post more often, obviously on social media, and you can be different, you can be a little more strategic. You can have videos and posts and images, whereas email is mostly text and images. I mean, it's going to change soon. I mean, we can go into that if you want, but email is going to be more direct, and it's going to be, the formal communication changes just a little bit, but it's about consistency and working together with all of your assets. That's really, really the key.
Yeah. Consistency is key. I say that all the time with my clients. I say that in my live videos. That is really kind of my mantra.
Yeah.
And just when you think it's not doing anything for you, the universe will prove to you that somebody is watching. Somebody will come out of nowhere and say, I have been watching your posts, or I've been seeing your lives, or I have been, and you're like, oh, I didn't know anybody was watching. It's a reminder that consistency is key. Keep showing up, because you never know who's watching.
Exactly.
And who is waiting for that, whatever spark they need to reach out, to hit you up, to click that. And something somebody brought to my attention once, because I hadn't thought of it, and now it just makes so much sense to me. And having been a teacher, I'm like, duh, why didn't I think of that? Is she said, I don't scroll on Facebook. She goes, I don't have time to scroll. She said, but I will read all my emails. I'm like, really? I'm more about scrolling on Facebook and watching people's posts, and I'll only open the emails that catch my eye. And so when she said that to me, I was like, different people gravitate to different things, which is why you saying it shouldn't just be about email marketing. It's got to be about all the different facets of marketing. And when you think about those big name brands, yeah, sure, we see the commercials on TV for McDonald's, but we also get flyers in the mail. We also see them on billboards. We see them in bus stops and in the newspaper, whatever. They're all over the place. They don't just go, the commercial's fine.
Yeah. And it's hard because you can't be everywhere, right? So it's very, because there's Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can go on and on and on. TikTok is huge now with videos. Like, it's a lot. So what I like to do is just pick where your audience is hanging out. Like, that is the most important place where you need to be, and be there consistently. Pick just two. That's all you need to do. Like, that's a lot. Like, if you need to just pick one, but be consistent there and be present. And then with the emails, just send one per week. I mean, everybody can find 15 to 20 minutes of their day, of their week, to craft an email and send it out. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the beginning a little more, but that's all you need. That's really all you need.
I agree with you 100%. And I always think less is more. So for me, I try to keep it short, sweet, concise, to the point. And those emails are the ones I tend to read. If they're big, long emails that I've got to sit and have like a good 20-minute read.
Yeah, that's hard.
So for me, I'm like, I keep it short and sweet, not just for me writing it, but for them receiving it, right? Make sure it packs a punch and send it on its way. So you're right. Like it's not a huge amount of time to devote, but could make a massive impact in your business down the road.
Yeah. I think it's like 80% of the return on your investment, it's attributed to email. Something ridiculous.
Jenna Kutcher swears by it. She said it is the foundation for her money-making abilities. Is in her email list.
I love her. She sends awesome emails too.
She does. So, I know. And you got to love her, but sometimes I'm like,
she's one of those.
Stop emailing me. Make it easier for me, Jenna. But I mean, it it takes practice, it takes consistency. She was where we were at one point. And she shares very openly how to and those steps. And I was fortunate enough to do a course where she trained us live for 6 weeks. And it was worth getting up in the morning for, because it was so chock full of good stuff. She's smart at what she does, and there's a reason she is where she is. And again, it's all marketing and consistency. Really, and building relationships.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because it's all about like connections. I mean, if you want to do the paid advertising route, that's great if you do it consistently. But it's all about making connections, especially if you're doing things organically. So if you're on Facebook groups and you want to connect with people, just say hello. Like, it's okay. You can say hello. And I love that you do videos. And I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't feel comfortable doing videos, which you don't have to feel comfortable, you can just do them, not feeling comfortable. I mean,
one more time.
I don't like doing videos. I really do not like doing the videos, especially when I'm by myself. Like, nobody loves it. Nobody says, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna do my live video." Yay! I'm super excited. Like, some people might love it, but it can be like nerve-wracking. You know, like you really don't know how it's going to be perceived. You might have some fears, but just do it anyways. Like, if you're scared of jumping, just jump scared. It's okay. Nothing's gonna happen to you. It's gonna be all right.
Some of the biggest things in life come to you on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Right. And my mantra since I was 10 years old has always been count to 3, jump on 2. Because when you jump on 2, you're already in it. And then your brain realizes it can't turn around.
Yeah.
And
it's so true.
The best way to have new people connect with you is for them to see you on video.
Yeah, it is true.
It's kind of how our calling card, it's kind of our way of connecting without meeting people one-on-one, because there's an energy about all of us, and that can translate on video, which is why I do my video messages to people, which took me a long time to figure out. I just one day went, okay, I help people find their voice and I work with people in voice. Why am I not using mine to connect with people? And so I thought of the audio route, and then I'm like, yeah, but that's still just a voice. I'm like, video. And then I thought I didn't even know I could send a video. So I kept it short, sweet, sent a video. And I'm like, yes, because then people see I'm a real person. I'm not a bot. I'm not, just somebody randomly friending a bunch of people to try and increase, right? Which there are people out there who do that. I am really trying to make connections, and I want people to see me and who I am. So
I agree.
It's a scary thing. It's a vulnerable thing. And it's almost like that feeling of crack yourself open and your heart is just there for everybody to stomp all over. But the people who are meant to be with you will connect with you from those videos.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not like you have to connect with people to get them as clients or customers for you. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to grow your network. You never know what you can use them for. Like, they can be resources for you or you for them. They can offer the tools that you might be looking for that you don't even know about. They can have friends in common. Like, I think one of my clients actually came from that. Like, I connected with someone it was on LinkedIn, and they had somebody that connected me that needed emails. And it was because we said hello. And that's really how things happen. You just don't know how you're going to help someone or how someone's going to help you. And especially because we're all in this together, like, especially like for me, I talk to business owners, right? But whatever your market is, you talk to the people that are your target market. You talk to the people that are similar in your own market, in your networks. So they don't all have to have, you know, the money that you want for them to enroll in your program and to visit your group. And like, it's about connection. It's about growing your network and having that opportunity to get to know people, because that's also fun. And
oh my gosh,
and
I
we're
have met some
people.
of the most amazing people most recently since I've started doing these like just chit chat calls. And some people are skeptical. They're like, you know, I'm not buying anything from you. I'm like, I'm not selling anything. I literally, like, really, my main focus is just to connect, because, you know, you never know where collaboration can happen.
Right, that
Where,
too.
like, there was somebody I spoke to. I'm like, how would you feel about being a special guest in my group? Because I think you can offer something that really hearing it from you would be way better than learning it from me. Because I understand that as a teacher, also, I was a teacher for many, many years. Sometimes you need somebody else to say what you're saying for it to sink in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
100%.
just another perspective, another voice. And so it is about those connections that can turn into referrals, that can turn into a collaboration, that can turn into, you know, being on their podcast, which is introducing you to their audience, which is a whole other marketing strategy, right? Like, there's so much benefit from just making these connections and learning what people do and how they're putting themselves out there. Because we can grow from it, they can grow from it. And there's just so much beauty, especially now that we can connect with people like this all over the world. Like
exactly.
You said this morning, your call was with somebody in Australia.
Yeah. I had we couldn't find a time that worked. And I mean, I wake up early all the time, so it's fine. I have kids. But so we met at 4:30 my time, and his time was like, I think 6 or something at night, like almost ready to like close off the office. So, but it's amazing because, you know, he's one of my clients now, and I'm helping him with his emails. And it just happened to be, and it was an organic connection as well from LinkedIn. So for me, LinkedIn has been great. Facebook works as well, but I'm more active on LinkedIn because I have seen great results with it. And people just want to connect with you. Like, don't be scared to say hello. It's okay. Like, we're human beings, and if you're fearful, that fear will never go away, but it will make it be comfortable in the uncomfortable. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
yes, it does. I totally get it. I love that.
Because it just doesn't go away. It's always there. Like, I've done like what 3 months of videos on my timeline. Something I started to do that this year, and I'm still nervous. I'm still coming up with content, and I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. But even if nobody watches it, I'm still doing it, right? And if people watch it, that's awesome. I've gotten some great videos out there, and I've gotten some that maybe they weren't as good as I had hoped. But it doesn't matter. You're just doing it consistently. You're putting yourself out there. And embrace the uncomfortable feelings, because that means you're human.
Well, and that's, you know what, I think that's what people connect to more, because we can connect with somebody who isn't perfect, and they make us feel better because we're like, okay, thank God, because neither am I.
Right.
Whereas when you see somebody and it looks so beautiful and perfect, and, you know, you see these great videos, it looks unattainable to us, and it looks like something we can't achieve. And so I am all about just hit record, and what happens, happens. And in one live video, my nose started bleeding, and I caught it, because normally when I'm doing a live, I look at the lens, which more than not people don't do, because they're used to looking at somebody else. So forgetting the camera is actually directly up there. And so I happened to glance down at me in the video and see blood running down my nose. And I was like reaching for a Kleenex. I'm like, oh, this is new. Okay, so let's continue. You have to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's the same in life. Right? So whether we're on video, or whether we're talking in front of a crowd, or we're talking to somebody on the street, we're ready to handle whatever happens. And what is the worst that can happen? You flub, make a mistake, say something wrong. And so again, what is the problem with that? It's not necessarily a bad thing, because we all do it. We all trip over our tongue, or we all, you know, lose what we're going to say or whatever it is. But my mom recently just found her way onto Facebook. Lucky me.
Yay.
Yay. And so she, in true mom fashion, she was like, you know, I've seen some of your videos. Maybe you should put some lipstick on, some makeup, mascara, something. You look so plain.
That's something that my mom would say too.
God love her.
They do it out of love.
I know they do. And I said to her, but I'm trying to teach people it's about showing up. It's not about looking perfect, being perfect. It's about your message and what you're saying. She goes, okay, but even a little lip gloss, Steve. I'm like, missing the point. But I mean, I appreciate what she's saying. And of course, now every time I go live, I'm like, oh, maybe I should. Actually, now I've got my lip gloss thing here beside my desk because I have my head now. But my point always when I'm working with clients is to say, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Better to do it than not do it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, like everything else in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, giving them tips and tricks of how to address, because sometimes we hit record and it's that,
oops,
right? That deer in headlights. And we're like, everything leaves your head and you have no idea what to do. So it's finding those tricks. Write bullet points if you need it. Write it out word for word if that makes you feel better. It's a security blanket. I tell people, put a picture of somebody by the lens of the camera so that it feels like you are actually talking to somebody rather than feeling like you're talking to yourself or you're alone. Or best way to practice, have somebody you do it with, right? Having a conversation like this where it's not all on your shoulders makes it a little bit more palatable and easier to jump in and do it, because there's safety in numbers. There's so many ways to do it, but the point is just do it.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be long either. It can be 2 minutes. It can be 3 minutes. It can be a minute. It doesn't matter. Like, I think, you know, when I started to do videos, I used the app, the teleprompter app.
Oh yeah.
And it is like, you literally cannot, like, you just read whatever's in front of it and you hit record and that's it. And that's how you just do it. Like, obviously you can't do it when you're live because it's a different feel. And if you have somebody, you know, who's commenting, you want to acknowledge that they're watching. And so whoever's watching, thank you for being here. But it's a little bit different.
This is saying she totally relates. She's totally relating to this.
Yeah. So like, start with the teleprompter and just write it out word for word and just read it. And it's going to be, you can do it on your cell phone. You don't need crazy like software or crazy things. That's what free apps, teleprompters, and you're going to see yourself recording. Just put your phone in here, hit record, and just do it. And just practice. It really is, like, my videos are probably not that good, but I just do it anyways, and they're actually getting better.
I watched some.
But if you watch the beginning, you're gonna be like, wow, this is terrible. But it's fine. I don't care.
If you watch Brad Pitt's first audition,
there you go.
Right? Yep. He didn't become an Oscar award-winning actor right out of the gates. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, just have the confidence to keep on going. You don't have to have the confidence to sound amazing. Just have the confidence to keep on going. The same thing with emails. That's what we've been talking. This is really, like, we're obviously talking a lot about finding your voice because this is obviously what you teach. But it's really all about the whole, like your whole circle of things. Here you have your social media. Here you have your email. Here you have your website. Here you have the post, the videos, whatever it is. Make your circle, and in that circle, just be consistent and every day track your activities. Like, I track what I do not just with emails, but with other things, because that's my way of being consistent. Find what works for you. Like if you can't be tracking because you just don't care about spreadsheets and you don't care about all of the other Airtables and Trellos and all of those of the world, then don't do what works for you. And that's something, you know, we were talking earlier about how there's all of these different people that are teaching business and entrepreneurs and everything. And it's great that they teach it, because I think it's very valuable. But you've got to be able to distinguish what is it that they're saying and how does that apply to what I can do and what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like you were just mentioning how Jenna's course was amazing, and I believe it because she's amazing. But not everything that she teaches is going to be it's going to be something that I can do. And I've been in like coaching programs that are amazing. I mean, the people know so much about it, and I've gotten so much like gold from them. But sometimes it's like, I don't think that could apply to what I'm doing, because maybe my business is different, my audience is different. And that's like, as a copywriter, you always want to be listening to your audience, and you always want to know what is it that your audience wants you to do or needs you to do, so that they can actually go through the transformation of whatever they're going through, so that they can be connected to you. So I totally agree with that. Do what you can, do it consistently. And look at your circle and make sure that the circle that you have in your own like business is always coming and going around and around. It's like the easiest way to like explain it, like kind of like putting everything together that we've been talking about a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And really being an entrepreneur is all about trial and error.
Yeah.
Something that works for one person may not work for you, but that's okay. Try something else.
Yeah.
Try something else, right? We have to keep putting stuff out there. Something will eventually hit. And I had a conversation actually with Chris Harder, who's also quite brilliant. He and his wife have done amazing things in their businesses. They have multiple. And, you know, he said, if it doesn't work the first time, change the font, change a color. He's like, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it just has to be blue, because that's what people gravitate to at that moment. And he's like, it sounds ridiculous, but it could literally be that minute.
Yeah.
And he really changed my perspective, because initially we're like, oh, it didn't work. Okay. Right. And then you just put it aside. Okay, it failed.
Right.
No, it didn't fail. If you believe in what you're putting out there and you believe that there's value in it and that people need it, change the font, change the coloring, change whatever. It could be that simple. And when I started doing that, I was like, damn it, he's right. Who knew that changing a color could be what attracts people to it? Because, you know, purple might be my color, and I'm always like, ooh, purple, right? But somebody else is like, no, green's the color of the week.
Yeah. I mean, with emails, you always want to, you know, whenever possible, you want to test your subject lines. And some service providers do that for you. I think most of them do it for you. You might have to pay a little extra or something, maybe not in the free version, maybe in the, like not the pro, but the premium one. But they all kind of offer that. And that's exactly what you're saying. If you're constantly testing and you're constantly understanding what your audience wants and relates to, then it's going to get easier, because you're going to know, oh, okay, they don't really respond well to this kind of question. Maybe I should switch it a little bit and maybe use that as my subject line. And that's going to help you to improve every single time. And it's not about failing, it's about improving. Whatever worked one time, the first time is not going to work. So why don't you just get the bad thing out of the way first and do it wrong? Like, do your best and try to do your best to do it right. But in the back of your mind, just know that this might not be the right thing. You might be doing it wrong, but that's okay, because you're doing it, you know? So,
and all the wrongs are going to lead you to the right.
Exactly. Because you're improving. It's all about improving. It's all about the process. And we're so impatient sometimes to see things through. Like, oh, but I haven't gotten my clients. I haven't gotten customers. What am I going to just keep doing what you're doing? Keep doing. If you're doing something, every single day consistently, and it makes sense. Obviously, don't like bang yourself, to the wall and keep doing that every single day. That obviously doesn't work.
Yeah.
But be smart about it
Yeah.
and do smart things, and it's gonna work.
Yeah.
It's gonna work.
Constantly about self-assessment. Take a step back, look at what you're doing, and reevaluate always, all the time. Oftentimes when I taught kids, I would tell them the story of Thomas Edison and say, he didn't just invent the light bulb, had this idea and went, hey, look, there it works. Yay.
Mm-mm.
He had to do over 9,000 trials, almost 10,000 trials, and realize, nope, that didn't work. Okay, now what do I try? Nope, that didn't work. Okay, let's tweak this. Nope, that still didn't work. I said, right. How many of you would have kept going after 10 tries? All of them were like, no, right? Because we are an impatient society now. We want instant gratification. So the thought of having to try something 10,000 times to see if it works, we're like, nope, on to something new. But sometimes, like, there's so many stories like that, like Colonel Sanders, KFC, went door to door and had doors slammed in his face, right? Because he had this great recipe. And it's amazing if people just took the time to look at some of those stories, those big NBA stars and athletes and stuff, they have coaches still, even though they're making $1 million contracts, because they need to stay up there because they know there's always somebody coming up out of the ranks. So we always have to be working at getting better at what we do. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? We're 100%. Always learning.
Yeah. And I mean, there's all of these different people that obviously created amazing companies and amazing businesses and made, amazing through their work. But we don't see that. We only see the success. And it's like, I saw this picture of a glacier, right? That the glacier, you just see the top, right? And it's beautiful. Like if you've never seen one, go see one because it's beautiful. But you don't know that 80% of the glacier is beneath the water. Like you don't see it. But it's also obviously beautiful, but it's underwater, but you don't see it. So you don't see when people are struggling. You don't see when people are doubting yourself. You don't see when people are uncomfortable and going live. You don't see that. You only see the end result, which is I made $5 million with my launch. Yeah, it didn't come overnight. Like I think Amazon. I think Amazon was losing money or not making money within like 7 years of when it was created. Like Amazon, and all of these, you mentioned some of them, like Tesla, he had to borrow money from family members. And you just go with it because and you believe in what you're doing and you're consistent enough to believe it every single day. So and it's with everything. I mean, coming back to the consistency and finding your voice and being authentic. It's not just one day. It's not one day and then you're done. It's not sending one email. Thank God I am done sending emails for the month, for the year. No, it doesn't work like that.
Exactly. Woo, that was hard. Okay. I love the glacier. Hugo, stop. I love the glacier because I'm actually working on a thing in Canva with that. I have an iceberg and it's like, $10 million or $10,000 month, but all the stuff that it took to get to that $10,000 month. And this is what bothers me about that kind of marketing. Because I'm like, but you're not being honest with those people and saying, it may have happened in 3 months from the time you figured out your process and started your marketing campaigns and did all that, but you're not talking about the months, years leading up to that point. And that's what I find not fair. And we see it all over the internet. But
oh my gosh.
Anything and everything is usually the iceberg the iceberg picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to do that in theater too. You know, the top of the iceberg is the show. It's so beautiful and pretty and perfect and glimmering in the sunlight, right? But they don't see
Mm-hmm.
the rehearsal process and the months and weeks of practice, rehearsal, and dance, and this and that, and self doubt, and all the things actors go through to get that show out on stage for you to sit there and watch and go, yay, bravo, right?
Yeah.
It's the same in almost everything. You don't just open your mouth and sing. There's a whole technique behind it because you need to make sure it's healthy, strong. You've got all the techniques in place to do. A lot of the students that I've had through the years who've done voice singing lessons with me, they're always like, oh, this is hard work. I'm like, I know. It's not
Yeah.
just open your mouth and sing. There's a lot to it, but people don't see that.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
We
I mean,
see the instant Justin Bieber fame, but we don't see the years he was posting his videos on YouTube,
mm-hmm.
constantly posting and putting it out there.
Yeah, and everybody's experience is different. So the people that are reaching millions of dollars years, thousands of dollars per month, I mean, that's awesome. They've been consistent enough to be able to do that. But it doesn't mean that whatever you're doing is wrong. It means that you will get there. And everybody's experience is different. So their knowledge might be more advanced, or they might know more about the specific product or service that they're selling, and that's why they might be successful. I don't know, I'm just trying to make sure that people understand it's not just hitting $10,000 every single month, like
Right.
it's or 100,000, whatever it is. It's what took place before, even through school, through experience, through like commonalities. Like people are really good with tech, so setting something up for them, it's super easy for them. But maybe people struggle with that, and that's why you have sometimes that you're not reaching your goals as fast, because you have, maybe tech is an issue, maybe maybe writing might be an issue for someone. So everybody has certain strengths, and you just have to figure out what those are. The faster you figure out what those are, the faster you're going to get there, because you're going to be able to like hone in on your skills that are good, so that you can make sure that you put the stuff out there that you do best. So
Great advice. Yeah.
It really is. Like I see those posts, and like I'm very happy for them. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the more that we make money online, the more it's going to be for everybody. Because if I've taken courses, and I might take your course, and that doesn't mean that somebody else should get mad at me taking your course. It should be like, I'm taking your course, but I might take your course as well. Like, because the more people that take courses, the better it is. And we're seeing this explosion of coaches and explosion of online programs, that in the past, it was like, you're a coach? Like, what does that even mean? Like, a coach for what? Like, you teach sports? But now it's like, oh, I need a coach, and I'm going to get there faster with coach, or I'm going to get there, because I'm learning from this person, and they're going to be enrolling in programs. So it's all an explosion of like everything coming together. And because you're not there, that doesn't mean that you can't get there. Just keep being consistent, keep following your recipe, and you will get there. You just have to believe it.
Learning.
Yes.
Keep yourself open to the possibilities and keep learning. Because as you have said before, things are always changing, always evolving. The algorithm changes, things happen, and we have to be flexible, and we have to be ready to change with it.
Right. 1,000%.
This has been awesome. So awesome. And it's been so great connecting with you, especially because I'm like, yep, I agree with you. Yep, we are on the same page on that. And it's always great when we can get our message out and affirm that, yeah, this is true. This is going forward, especially somebody starting out. It can be so overwhelming because they're bombarded with all the, well, you should be, and why aren't you doing this? And they're like, I didn't even know that existed. So when they hear, again, that consistent message, the consistency in what we're putting out and what's working for us, then they can start going, okay, so maybe there is some validity in an email list. There is some validity in how I structure that email list. And consistency, keep showing up, keep doing those things, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
It's as simple as that. And it's really about keeping it that simple for yourself.
Yeah, and not saying, oh, this doesn't work after doing it for like a week or doing it for like a month. Like, give yourself a year of the same exact thing every single day. And if that doesn't work, then yes, that doesn't work. The worst thing that could have happened is you learned a lot and you
Yeah.
have experience doing something that you should be doing anyways. So it's yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, not everybody wakes up in the morning and knows what to do when it comes to their online business, you know, like you need to try things and see what works.
Yeah.
um and programs are great, don't get me wrong, like I've taken some amazing programs, but you just need to know and be true to who you are so that you know what works, what is going to work for you and what it's not going to work. And if you try it and you don't feel comfortable, it doesn't, and I shouldn't say feel comfortable, because even if it doesn't feel comfortable, just do it. But if it doesn't align with who you are, I think that's really what it is.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah.
Find your people, work with the people you really feel a connection to, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's business acumen you want, then go and find that coach that is all about business.
Right.
But if you want a supportive community and people who are going to cheer you on, and then you need to find a coach who has created that, who is going to help you find that alignment. And maybe you're more spiritual woo woo, and that's more, then you find a coach that can
Yeah.
foster that because you are of the same mindset. Not every coach is right for every person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
100%.
okay. There's an abundance out there of clients, there's an abundance of coaches, right? And you will find your person. You just know when that connection has been made. But I always say to people, keep your options open, because it may lead you down a path you had never thought about, but feels so right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a totally different place than I was back when COVID started and I had to move my business online, because what I was doing for my business was all one-on-one work, was all face to face. And all of a sudden the world shut down. I had to move it online, and a whole new world opened up to me at
That's
that
hard.
point.
Yeah, that's
It
hard.
is. But I actually see it as a blessing now, because it has given me the ability to help people I never knew that I or thought I could, and be able to use my expertise in trauma healing, and you know, having lost my voice and what that, how
Mm-hmm.
detrimental that was to me, to be able to
Yeah.
help people through some of that ugly stuff too, to get where they want to be. Because ultimately all coaches, you would hope, want to help other people. They want to
Yeah.
help other coaches.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate goal, is we want to help people.
Yeah, I think for everybody, even like I'm not a coach, but I want to help people. I want to help businesses to make an impact. That's one of the reasons why I like to work with this type of service-based businesses, because they're all about helping. And I think that if you come from a good place, but even if like for example, if you don't have to be a nonprofit and work to save the animals in like I don't know a poor country, to have that drive that you can help people to get a water bottle that is going to help them when they're exercising, whatever it is. There's always going to be that part of helping in whatever you do. It doesn't have to be directly tied to the business mission itself. So it's all about coming from that place of helping and connecting, and that's how you're going to get results, because you're being authentic, you're being who you are.
Yeah.
So it's all about that. Yeah. Cool.
100%. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And sorry about my dog. He's like, it's
It's
about
okay.
time to get off the phone. That's funny. Oh my gosh, I'm dating myself. But you know, there's so much value in what you do, because people, and speaking from experience too, being able to express yourself in writing and an email, and be able to use it as a marketing tool for your business, it can be pretty overwhelming, especially when you don't even have an inkling of where to start with it. So
Yeah.
I think it's I encourage people to go to your Facebook page, or well, your Facebook profile, because I watch some great videos that you put out. I'm proud of you for the videos you're putting out.
Thank you.
There's so much value in that alone, and to connect with you, because I think you're good at what you do, and you give great advice, and you're personable and easy to talk to. So I encourage people to reach out to you and hire her.
Well, thank you so much. This has been really fun. You know, the world that I work in is obviously just me by myself. You know, I hire some people here and there, but it's all about connections and talking to people. So I love doing this. This has been awesome. And yeah, I mean, if there's anything that I can support you with, let me know. And
For sure.
and I look forward to being more involved in your group. I feel like I'm involved in so many groups that it's like I don't see everything I want to see, and I need to like cut down so that I can be present, like we were talking about. But thank you. This has been awesome. Yeah.
Amazing. And you know what? Post in the group so people see you and they can find you. And of course, this is going to be posted on YouTube with all your links, so that again, people can find you and reach out to you. Because I know there are people out there who's like, if only somebody could write these for me. I'm like, there is somebody. And yeah, we may be talking later too. So
okay.
Awesome. So
right.
We will connect soon, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Take care,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.